Imagine walking alone through a vast African grassland 200,000 years ago. The air is still. The wind barely moves. Then, a branch snaps somewhere behind you. Immediately, your heart begins racing. Your breathing becomes faster. Your muscles tighten. Your pupils widen. Without thinking, your brain has already begun imagining danger. Could it be another hunter? A lion hidden in the tall grass? A leopard waiting in the trees? Or perhaps nothing at all. Today, that exact same feeling can appear when your phone suddenly rings late at night, when your manager asks to talk tomorrow, when you receive an unexpected email, when medical test results haven't arrived yet. The danger is completely different, yet your body responds in remarkably similar ways. We call this feeling anxiety. Many people think anxiety is a flaw of modern life, something caused by cities, technology, or social media. But what if anxiety is much older than civilization itself? What if it existed long before farming, long before writing, long before history began? The story starts with one of evolution's oldest rules. Survival favors caution. Imagine two prehistoric hunters walking through dense vegetation. Both hear the same rustling sound. The first hunter assumes everything is safe. The second immediately prepares for danger. Perhaps 99 times out of 100, the sound is only the wind, but the 100th time, it is a lion. The cautious hunter survives. The careless hunter does not. Evolution does not reward perfect accuracy. It rewards surviving long enough to have children. Across thousands of generations, brains that reacted quickly to uncertain danger became increasingly common. Our ancestors evolved nervous systems designed to assume the worst, because the cost of a false alarm was usually small. A few moments of unnecessary fear. The cost of ignoring real danger could be death. Modern psychologists often describe this as a better safe than sorry strategy built into the brain. The remarkable thing is that your body still uses exactly the same emergency system today. The moment your brain detects possible danger, whether physical or psychological, a tiny region deep inside the brain called the amygdala begins responding. Signals rapidly travel through the nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system becomes active. Within seconds, the adrenal glands release adrenaline. Heart rate increases. Breathing accelerates. Blood pressure rises. Blood is redirected away from digestion and toward the muscles. Your senses become sharper. Reaction time improves. Even pain becomes temporarily less noticeable. This entire process happens automatically. You cannot simply decide not to feel it, because for hundreds of thousands of years, this response kept human beings alive. Without it, our ancestors would have reacted too slowly to predators, hostile groups, falling rocks, snake bites, or dangerous weather. Fear and anxiety were never evolutionary mistakes. They were survival tools. Some of the oldest survival tools our species has ever possessed. Yet evolution has one important limitation. It cannot prepare organisms for environments that do not yet exist. The brain controlling your emotions today is still operating with hardware largely built for a prehistoric world. And that ancient survival system is about to encounter a very modern problem. For most of human history, stress usually had a beginning and an end. Imagine a prehistoric hunting party crossing an open savanna. A lion suddenly appears. Everyone runs. Hearts pound. Muscles burn. Adrenaline floods the bloodstream. Every second matters. Then, the lion gives up. The danger disappears. Slowly, breathing returns to normal. Heart rate falls. Muscles relax. The nervous system begins switching off the emergency response. The body recovers. This pattern repeated itself for hundreds of thousands of years. Short bursts of intense danger, followed by long periods of relative safety. The human stress response evolved for exactly this kind of world. Immediate threats, immediate action, immediate recovery. Modern life is often very different. Today, many of our greatest threats cannot be outrun. Bills, deadlines, traffic jams, job interviews, financial uncertainty, relationship problems, social media, constant news updates, unread emails. The brain often treats these situations as unresolved danger. Unlike a predator, they rarely disappear after a few minutes. Instead, they linger for days, weeks, sometimes months. The ancient alarm system remains activated far longer than it was originally designed to. Researchers sometimes describe this as an evolutionary mismatch. Our biology evolved in one environment, while our modern world created another. The brain still reacts to uncertainty, even when no physical predator exists. The remarkable part is that many of the same brain circuits become active during both physical danger and social danger. Brain imaging studies have shown that social rejection, humiliation, or exclusion can activate regions involved in processing physical pain and threat. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. For prehistoric humans, belonging to a group was not merely comforting, it was essential for survival. Hunter-gatherer communities were usually small. Everyone depended on one another. Food was shared. Children were raised together. The sick were often cared for by others. Knowledge passed from older generations to younger ones. A person completely isolated from the group faced enormous risks. Finding food alone became more difficult. Injuries became more dangerous. Predators became harder to avoid. Even raising children successfully became far less likely. Natural selection therefore favored brains that cared deeply about social acceptance. Embarrassment, guilt, shame, fear of rejection. These emotions were not random. They encouraged behaviors that helped maintain relationships within the group. Your ancestors who noticed social warning signs, who repaired damaged relationships, who cooperated with others, often survived more successfully than those who ignored social bonds. That ancient system still operates inside every human brain today. A critical comment from a coworker, an argument with a close friend. Being ignored by someone important can trigger emotional responses that feel surprisingly intense. Not because modern conversations are physically dangerous, but because your nervous system still carries memories written by evolution. To an ancient brain, losing your place within the tribe could mean losing protection, food, knowledge, and ultimately, your life. This may help explain why loneliness affects human health so profoundly. Modern research consistently shows that chronic social isolation is associated with increased risks of cardiovascular disease, depression, anxiety disorders, and even earlier mortality. The human brain evolved expecting connection, not permanent isolation, not endless digital interaction without physical community, not thousands of online acquaintances, but no one sitting beside the fire. Perhaps our emotions are not overreacting. Perhaps they are still responding to rules written for a world that disappeared thousands of years ago, which raises another fascinating question. If anxiety helped our ancestors survive, what about depression? Did prehistoric humans experience it too? Or is depression a disease unique to the modern world? Depression is far more difficult to understand than anxiety. Scientists still debate exactly why it exists. Unlike fear, which produces an immediate survival response, depression appears more complex. There is no evidence that depression suddenly appeared after agriculture, or after cities, or after modern civilization. The emotional machinery behind depression almost certainly existed long before history began. After all, prehistoric humans experienced grief. They lost children. They lost parents. They lost hunting partners. They survived droughts, famine, injuries, and disease. Archaeological discoveries reveal skeletons carrying evidence of broken bones, serious illnesses, and lifelong disabilities. Many of those individuals survived for years. That means they were cared for by others, but recovery was never guaranteed. Imagine losing a close family member in a small hunter-gatherer band. There were no therapists, no hospitals, no antidepressants. The grief would have been overwhelming. The emotional pain, just as real as it is today. Many researchers believe depressive episodes almost certainly occurred throughout human history. Yet prehistoric depression may not have looked exactly like the chronic depression that affects millions today. Hunter-gatherer life demanded constant movement. People walked for miles almost every day. They spent countless hours outdoors. They woke with the rising sun. They slept after sunset. Artificial light did not exist. Screens did not exist. Notifications did not exist. Much of daily life required direct cooperation with other people. Food was gathered together. Children were raised together. Problems were solved together. Modern research has repeatedly found that many of these same factors support mental health: regular physical activity, natural daylight, healthy sleep cycles, close social relationships, time spent in nature, a strong sense of purpose. None of these guaranteed happiness. Prehistoric life was extraordinarily difficult. Infant mortality was high. Infections were common. Accidents happened frequently. Predators remained dangerous. Many people died young. Life was physically harder than anything most people experience today. But there is an important difference between suffering and mental illness. Every human being experiences sadness. Every human being experiences grief. Every human being experiences fear. Those emotions are normal. Clinical depression is something else. It persists. It interferes with daily functioning. It changes appetite, sleep, motivation, thinking, and the ability to experience pleasure. Scientists still do not fully understand why depression sometimes becomes chronic. Genetics play an important role. Early childhood experiences matter. Trauma matters. Physical health matters. Inflammation may contribute. Brain chemistry contributes. Social isolation contributes. There is unlikely to be a single explanation. Perhaps depression is not one illness, but many different conditions sharing similar symptoms. Meanwhile, the modern world has introduced challenges our ancestors never faced: constant comparison with millions of strangers through social media, information overload, 24-hour news cycles, artificial lighting that delays sleep, hours spent sitting indoors, reduced physical activity, smaller families, less face-to-face interaction, long periods of loneliness despite living among millions of people. The brain that evolved to solve immediate survival problems now spends much of its time worrying about imagined futures. Financial markets, online opinions, emails, deadlines, and events that may never happen. Evolution moves slowly. Civilization changes rapidly. Our nervous system is still trying to bridge that gap. The next time anxiety suddenly appears, or you find yourself wondering why the human mind can sometimes feel so overwhelming, remember something extraordinary. Your brain is not simply a product of the modern world. It is one of the oldest surviving organs in human evolution. Much of its basic architecture was shaped long before cities, long before farming, long before written language. Fear helped your ancestors survive predators. Social emotions helped them remain part of their communities. Grief reminded them of love. Even emotional pain carried information that sometimes improved survival. The problem is not that evolution built a faulty brain. The problem is that the world transformed far faster than evolution could. Long before psychologists, long before antidepressants, long before anyone understood cortisol, dopamine, or serotonin, our ancestors carried remarkably similar emotional systems inside their skulls. The dangers changed. The environment changed. Human society changed. But the ancient brain remained. Perhaps that is the most fascinating lesson hidden inside modern anxiety and depression. Some of our oldest emotional struggles may also be echoes of the very instincts that once helped our species survive.